Hi everyone, thanks for joining us again. Hope you guys are doing alright. And today I thought might reflect really on how we approach uncertainty and managing risk, and we're going through really uncertain times at the moment. Indeed, in my own life at the moment, my dear mum stuck out in Florida. If you're hearing this, mum, on that cruise ship. I know this is your favourite phase, but I told you so. But jokes apart, keep safe, mum, and patience is a virtue, and really hope to see you back on home soil soon. So back to you guys. You may have seen on my Facebook page an update from HEE around the assessments, and specifically work-based placed assessment for those who've passed the AKT and the CSA. Good news is your CCT should be coming through in August, because they're putting the work-based placed assessment stuff on hold, which is good news. Not so good for the CSA or the AKT, which I do think will probably happen in any case, even during these crazy times. When that happens, though, is again very much up to the college. So in approaching risk, if you remember this, actually life becomes quite easy in the CSA. There are only 3 levels of risk: serious enough to warrant review stroke admission today, serious enough to warrant urgent review, and not serious, in which case contain this within GP. And if you look at a lot of what's happening in terms of COVID triage, actually it falls down into those 3 levels also. I'll be posting a triage flowchart which came out in the BMJ quite recently. It's quite good, so do have a look at it if you are in hot hubs triaging at the moment. Again, just keep safe. So story before symptom, and in the CSA, opening up a narrative is all about being curious. It's about timelines. It's not just about tell me more, it's about when did this start, it's about what were you doing at the time before you necessarily focus down on a symptom. Imagine a man comes in, sees you with a headache. When did this start? It started yesterday. Just be curious, what were you doing yesterday? I was at the gym, I was working out. Pick up on those cues. The cue is king in this exam. The analogy of getting from A to B, this driving test, you're driving, but right next to your passenger's got cues which you need to pick up and react to help you to get to point B. But cues can only be dropped a maximum of 2, if you're very lucky, 3 times in this exam, so never park a cue. So our guys at the gym, we open up the narrative. He was working out, he was lifting some weights, then he felt quite dizzy, and that's when the headache came on. If you now focus down on the symptom, and the symptom's pain, you've got your questions around Socrates, site onset, character, radiation, but don't throw multi-barrel questions at your patients. The analogy of ping pong is it should be one ping pong over the table, wait for the response before the next one is fired off. But really, to help you commit to risk, you need to look at the system. And if you look at competency 4 in the CSA mark grid, abnormal findings, their implications, these are the red flags mapped to that system. So if it's neurological, then certainly you'd be asking the appropriate questions around neurological red flags. But if someone came in, for example, to see you with undifferentiated back pain, and you were thinking about neurological symptoms, how do you start signposting those questions? Because you can't simply ask a patient, let me ask you some questions about your back, and then suddenly go, how are your bowels? Signposting isn't simply saying, let me ask you some odd questions or weird questions. Signposting, the analogy of it really is to keep the ping pong in place. So it's a sharing of thought processes. It's a bridging statement to help you connect your thought processes. So if I'm going to be jumping from back then to bladder and bowels, I might say, well, let's keep an open mind as to what's causing your back pain, because in your back you've got nerves that supply different parts of your body: your bladder, your bowels, your legs. So just a few routine questions, try and find out what's going on. So a good signpost will not scare a patient, but it will normalize where you're going, help you move forward with this patient in this journey from A to B. So if I've now got a presentation where I've got a number of red flags, then actually I don't necessarily need to know the diagnosis to manage the patient. What I'm committing to is risk. I mean, you look at rashes, for example, in general practice, and with that, I've got patients who come in, and often I really don't know what the diagnosis is, but what I can commit to is whether it's a serious rash or not a serious rash, and make sure my management is reactive, but not defensive, reactive to that level of risk that I've committed to. And this is exactly what's happening now. during this very unstable time. We've got to commit to risk. We've got to commit to it reactively, ensuring that we're doing the safe thing. And actually, as an examiner, and having been one previously in the past, we're only really looking at three things. Does this consultation feel real? If my mum was really sick, and maybe she didn't even know she was sick, would I be happy for her to see you? Or if my mum wasn't sick at all, but a complete hypochondriac, would I be happy for her to see you? Is your management going to be reactive, not defensive? And are you safe? And with that said, Mum, hope you are safe, and please continue to keep safe. And that goes out to you guys too, and your loved ones during this uncertain time. Really hope to catch up with you guys soon again for another little story before symptom before system. Alright, catch up soon. Thanks.